This was the kind of episode I wanted to see. Alright guys, we're back with My Hero Academia Season 5, Episode 2. Unfortunately, I can't post the full reaction on YouTube because every time I tried to post it, no matter how much I cut it up, I just got a copyright strike on it. So yeah, if you guys want to see the reaction to the video, I'm going to give you a moment so that you can click the link down. It's going to be the first link in the description. Click the link. It's going to take you to streamworld.com where I'm going to post the reaction video. There's no pop-ups, no ads. I pay to be able to put my videos there, so you guys shouldn't be getting any ads or anything like that. And feel free to stay tuned for the after show discussion where I go over the episode and my thoughts on it. But otherwise, I'll see you guys back here after the episode. Okay guys, that was an interesting episode. I mean, we got a lot of content in that episode. We got to see Hawks, we got to see Endeavor, we got to see All-for-One's brother, some of the previous users of One For All. Really just a packed episode. So let's just go over the episode then. Man, Hawks has got some stuff going on, that's for sure. When he meets up with what's his name, Dabby. Yeah, when he meets up with Dabby, it looks like Dabby's been working with them, or at least trying to work with them. They haven't totally built up that trust yet. But I mean, like I said in the reaction, I think from my gut that Hawks is, at his core, he's a good guy. And there was some allusions to what his, goals are and what his motives are, his driving forces, little callback, a little flashback to his, childhood. I guess he saved a bunch of people and they wanted to look after him and his family so he could become a hero. So, what exactly is his driving force? What really pushes him? Or what is his goal? I guess they want to put him in as a double agent for the League of Villains so they can sort of, I think they said, cut him off from within, which, makes sense if you can, get their trust. They seem to think that, well, he'll be able to turn a blind eye to the goings on in the League of Villains. And if they're doing some, nasty stuff, he's going to be able to just put that aside and keep going. But the thing is, it's hard because as a hero, some of that stuff is just going to totally conflict with your values, at the core. And to really gain their trust, what they're gonna want to see you do, what they're gonna want to see Hawks do, is something that goes completely contrary to what a hero would truly believe in or do. And that could be, killing some innocent people, that could be carrying out some sort of plot to trap his hero contemporaries. I mean, he already kind of baited Endeavor in this whole Nomu thing. Man, it's definitely an interesting little character dilemma. It's going to be really interesting to see how they dive into this. I mean, I can only just imagine all the sorts of issues and problems that are going to come up with this, but hey man, I'm all for that usual suspects type stuff. I don't know. And then we got to see some of the, family interactions with Endeavor, specifically, Shoto and his sister and his brother. Basically, his sister just wants them all to finally become a family. That's what she wants. She wants everyone together. Shoto's brother is, rightfully still really upset with his dad Endeavor. And to be honest, from what we saw in the previous seasons, previous episodes, in the backstory, honestly, Endeavor was, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but like, he is just, I mean, he was a terrible dad. He was kind of a terrible husband, terrible head of his family, terrible person. Really treated his children and his wife like they were tools for him to mold the perfect heir to his power in his quest to claim the number one hero spot, or maybe have his, son or his heir claim that spot as an extension of himself. But when they had that scene where All Might asked him, there's got to be a simple reason why you do what you do, why you're a hero. And when he thought of it and he said, yeah, it's to make a future for, his family, his children, that just seemed so incompatible with how he acted before. To me, we needed to see a bigger character change, a bigger moment that really shone a light on the family dynamic as opposed to the chasing All Might dynamic, which I mean we definitely had that last season. In terms of Endeavor, finally becoming the number one hero, not the way he wanted to, kind of going through this internal conflict, rethinking, what it means to be the number one hero and what he's actually doing, that sort of thing. I just felt like that reason he gave didn't make sense with how he acted in the past. How he acted in the past was selfish, and he used his family. He didn't think of his family as ends. He thought of them as means to an end, and that end was to be number one. At least that's how it was presented to us before. And, to say that his simple reason why he was being a hero was to secure a future for his family, that goal in itself is treating his family like they are ends, but the way he treated them was like they were means to an end, not ends in their own, not ends in and of themselves. So I just felt that didn't make any sense to me, and for it to make sense, we would have needed to see a bit more character development and a better moment where he changes where his character changes. We need to see that a little bit better in terms of his family. But I mean, obviously, I think he's on the right track now. I think he's already different, much different person than he was, at least portrayed in the past, and he's definitely on the way to mending his family. I mean, as you can see, Shoto said his brother had never really shown that much emotion anyway. So I mean, it's got to all come out for it to eventually get better. His brother also mentioned they had another sibling. I can't remember the name or anything, but I can't remember them being another one. But he said something like it was one of the reasons why he wouldn't forgive Endeavor. I guess we'll wait for more backstory on that. Oh yeah, and another thing that was in this episode was that look boy, which honestly I thought was a really nice way for them to call back to the conversation between Endeavor and All Might, when Endeavor said he can hear something, unseen, imperceptible, that has slowly been crumbling away, that All Might had built up, then showing us the reactions of the people who witnessed what had happened with the Nomu fight with Endeavor and Hawks. That was such an All Might thing. That was never an Endeavor thing. And what All Might had always been was just, the symbol of hope, something that would really touch the hearts of people, and it plays to a bigger sense of, healing the human conscious, creating a society where people feel safe, people feel like there's hope for good. And honestly, that someone, has their back out there, which I think Endeavor is finally starting to realize that, part of what it means to be the number one hero, part of what it means to save everyone is to give them hope, is to give them something to hold on to. And the look boy was just a subtle way of showing us that without telling us, straight up, this is what he's talking about. And I just thought it was great. Really well done. And finally, we got it. The vestiges of One for All. Deku, dreaming after a hard day's work. He gets transported to this, other plane, other world, where he can see the other heroes who had inherited One for All. He can't speak, he can't move, he can't do anything. All he can do is witness. And it looks like All-for-One's younger brother, the guy who started One for All and it being passed down from hero to hero. It seems like he is specifically talking to Deku. There's some connection. He mentions it too. I think he mentions singularity point, and how even though Deku's only at 20% or whatever of One for All, that he still passes singularity points. So maybe that means that there's some connection with all the other previous users of One for All that he can somehow tap into. Maybe we're gonna get some sort of, in some dire situation, something like that will happen. Hopefully we get more of these sort of dream transported to another plane, another world scenarios where we can get, more backstory, more informations. But yeah, it was really interesting getting to see a little bit more of All for One and how it all began, really. That scene where he's trying to convince his brother that he's not evil, you know, he's not solely acting selfishly, that he uses his powers to help people or give them what they want. It was pretty telling for his character. And I mean, of course, his brother tries to tell him, you know, if you have power, if you have the means to make a difference, you should use it for good. You should use it for others, not just yourself, and not basically using others as means to for your own ends. But I mean, yeah, just because All for One was able to take away someone's power who didn't want that power and give someone a power who didn't have a power and wanted one, that doesn't mean that he necessarily was doing something good in the first place. And even if it did, trying to do something good through means that are evil defeats the purpose of doing something good. And just because you're doing what someone wants you to do doesn't mean that you are acting for them and not yourself. And I mean, his younger brother calls it out. He's not acting for those people. His goal is not to help those people. That's not his end. He is treating those people as means. And when he does something for them, it is in order to help him achieve his end, which is a wholly selfish end. He wants to basically be the god of the world, to create order the way he wants it, almost like, you know, Kira in Death Note maybe. But he's only going to do things for other people so far as it helps him in achieving his ends. And his brother says, you've only done this to create lackeys for yourself, which is the truth. Another nice little theme to touch on here is, you know, the classic call to I mean, I guess All for One forgot to read past the third volume in that manga. The hero always wins. Well, maybe the hero doesn't always win, but good always wins, or, you know, evil's day always comes, sort of thing. It's a cheesy, it's a cliche theme. It's definitely overdone in the shonen. I mean, it's an eventuality in any hero movie, sort of thing. That is the main theme that never breaks. You know, as cliche and as cheesy as it is, it's in a subtle level, it's true. Good always ends up winning in the end, because though on the individual level, people may act for themselves and not for the good of everyone, as a whole, collectively, society and the human conscious acts for its own best interest. That's why we have the society we have today. That's why we have order. That's why we have justice. That's why we have peace. And you may point to individual instances of injustice, war, crime, hate, poverty, all sorts of things. But as a whole, society is constantly trying to elevate itself, constantly trying to move forward. You know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. That's just the nature of humanity. That's why good always wins in the end. It's that collective consciousness of humanity strives for what's best for humanity as a whole, as a collective. The same way that an individual may strive to do what's best for himself or herself, so does all of humanity in its own way. Even in an individual instance, if someone may be acting in a way that we deem as evil, I think behind those actions, there's the same core idea of trying to do the best thing, even if it's for themselves at the expense of, say, someone else. Even underlying those evil actions is the idea of goodness, the idea of goodness for yourself. It's just not applied in the right way, not in the way that we would deem good for society. So the collective human consciousness does not accept that form of action as good for the whole of society, of the whole of humanity. And so it gets deemed evil. But in the end, good always wins, because it's all of humanity versus the individual. But yeah, guys, what a great episode. And it's always great to get really deep into, you know, the themes and the characters and plot being developed. This is a great second episode for the series, for the season. And man, I'm just really looking forward to seeing the rest of the episodes and getting into it with you guys. I'm going to try my best to post the reactions to these videos on the day the episode airs, but you know, depending on editing, depending on how things are going, might come out the next day. But I'll do my best to get these out as quickly as I can. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything else you want me to discuss that I missed in the episodes, or maybe there's something I got wrong because wasn't paying attention properly. And if you're interested in this kind of content, I'm also going to be posting reactions to The Promised Neverland and Jujutsu Kaisen. And I've got some ideas for other animes down the road that I'd be interested in. I'm also going to be posting a lot of other content on my channel, including eventually some guitar videos, as well as, you know, I already post lots of Warzone gameplay content, stuff like that. But yeah, I just really hope you guys enjoy what I do here, because, you know, this is basically all the stuff that I enjoy to do. It's great to really just have a community that I can share that with, and just know that I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you guys in the next one.